Oh, yeah. Hey, what up? Good morning. Monday, February 21st, 2022. Early Monday morning. Get on up, move your body. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. Another fresh episode this Monday morning. Hey, what's happening? Got a good morning from Pops already. Good morning, First Sky Squad and fam. What's going on, Pops?
Squad.
Hey, got a good morning from Brooke Rodriguez. What's happening? Good morning from Judy Prensler. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Judy Prensler, she already worked out. I heard that.
Okay. Getting early in the morning.
I think that's what I'm going to have to do, too, before I can think about it all the way.
Okay.
Get up, just start moving.
I try to do the research, man. I don't know. I guess it kind of depends. Like, you know, when's a better time to work out? Late at night, early in the morning, middle of the day? Couldn't find
I think the best time is when you feel like it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or when you schedule it for yourself, because you probably never feel like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was definitely gonna say that next. Like, I guess that means never.
Yeah, me and James are still very unfamiliar.
Who?
We got a good morning from Christy Knorr. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, they're rolling in.
They're rolling in, man. Monday, February 21st, 2022.
Okay.
2022.
22.
And yeah, man, really appreciate everybody joining us. This is the fresh edition, Monday edition of First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. All of you. Brooke Rodriguez says, not at night. Morning is best.
Okay.
I think it's best for me too. I really like have to be half zombied out still to get up and do all that. So there is an element of like it, you know, clearing my mind. I don't know. There's an element of me not thinking about what's happening. So.
For me, it was definitely after doing my research, I concluded that mornings would be the best time to work out for me. I mean, it's not even you just feel better throughout the day. You know, once you get used to the working out, get through those first stages of your body just, you know, cursing you out for the rest of the day after that workout, and you can get used to it, and then and you get to work out, and you just kind of do feel better throughout the day. So yeah, get active, y'all. Get those bodies moving. It is Monday morning, top of the morning to you. Let us know how your weekend went.
Yeah, you guys do this weekend.
I was up. Had a pretty eventful weekend. Weekend. Just kind of still unpacking, getting used to the crib, the new spot.
Yeah, how is it so far?
It's lovely, man. It's definitely a lot, you know, bigger than where I used to stay.
Okay.
But I will say I'm looking forward to it because it's a practice in group economics, man. My mother-in-law will be moving in with us and coming down here. You know, spend more time with the kids and you know do that thing. So, looking forward to that. Looking forward to spending more time with family. You know, that is one thing I will say I miss from being in Omaha, man. Being down here in Atlanta, man. Just being able to just pull up on Mom Dukes whenever I wanted to, or holler at my dad and sisters, and it just you miss that. Family is important.
Yeah.
Man. So spending time with family, man. Brooke asks, how do I like Atlanta? I love it. I love Atlanta. I was just kind of telling the guys before the show off air. Hopefully it was off air. I don't know if the 6:30 crew heard this, but one day I was driving down the street and they were building something outside this burger joint, and I'm like, man, what are they building in this parking lot? And find out 2 Chainz was just doing a free concert just in the parking lot of this burger spot, just in the middle of the city, man. Just a Tuesday in Atlanta.
It's just a Tuesday going up on Tuesday.
Yeah, going up on Tuesday, man. So those types of things happen all the time, and the fact that I am a DJ and somewhat in the music industry here, it's definitely interesting. You ever watch the show Atlanta? It's kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie. It's something
Man,
always
that's
happening.
one of my favorite shows of all time. Actually, can't
Man,
wait to the new season.
getting wait, yeah, season three. I'm excited for that.
Brooke
But
said it. Somebody told her it's like a black L.A.
it is. It is actually. I'm quite surprised. I'll be honest. The neighborhood we're in is it's not bad. It's not bad, and it's all of us out
That's
here.
what's up, man. I heard
Yeah,
that. That
yeah,
sounds great. In the chat, Pops says, I understand that exercising late at night can be dangerous to your system.
Really?
Yeah. Brooke says you have energy for the rest of the day. Nighttime is for winding down. Makes sense to me. For my construction days, working in construction, man, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It does have something to do with me, like being half asleep. And getting moving, because then 8 o'clock hit, I'm wide awake now, and now I'm full of energy because I just moved around for the last couple hours, but without thinking about it. So I definitely can see early mornings for me, for sure. I got a good morning from Josh Tagg. He says good
Hey,
Monday morning, y'all. Appreciate it, man. Brother Valentine in the house says good morning, fam. What's happening, brother
top of the morning
Valentine?
to you.
Yep. And Pop says I loved Atlanta too. The food is unbelievable.
Man, there are so
Man.
many food spots down here. It's kind of incredible. My wife continuously says like you can actually go to a new food spot every day for maybe a year or so, just throughout the whole city. And y'all remember? I don't know, Pops. I know you remember the tacos I was talking about. The jerk tacos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the jerk chicken tacos. Yeah, of
Man.
course. Then they got Slutty Vegan down here. I finally had Slutty Vegan.
Right.
Actually,
Yes.
shout out to Chickadebia. Shout out to Chickadebia. For those of you who don't know, Omaha artist out in New York doing some things, making some. He's a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah.
But he came down here and he has some Slutty Vegan. And he just gave me one fry, just one fry. I was
Sold you
hooked.
on it, huh?
I was hooked. I almost how I imagine you felt about that itis.
Man.
Yeah, man. We don't want to go there, but
Yeah,
just
man.
if y'all saw the episode, you know.
Yeah. If y'all didn't see it, I went on for like a half hour about the itis.
Exactly. I don't want to get into that.
It's a new restaurant in the Switch, and yeah. It's
I don't want to get into
aptly named.
that.
We got a good morning from Mark Manor. Mark, did you hear that? You can go to a new eating spot every day in Atlanta. I had to
Man.
take a trip. Imani Murray in the house. What's happening? Says I'm ready for the new season of Atlanta. Me too.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite shows of all time, right there.
Think they're supposed to be in Europe this season? Yeah, man.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
yeah, because
I
I don't know if you remember the end of the last season, they were hopping on the plane to go on the tour for Paperboy. Yeah, they're gonna be in Europe, man. I'm excited for that one. I'm excited. I think it's a Red Light District episode. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. That I'm thinking about episodes on Atlanta now. They're just wild. If you haven't seen Atlanta, it's on FX. Definitely check that show out. It's genius. And apparently, everybody who lives in Atlanta says it's a representative of Atlanta pretty well. So
Yeah.
that's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brooke said that's the one I was thinking of. Brooke, she said that Michael Jackson season was so weird. The episode where what was his name?
Oh, you talking about the dude with the house
character based off of Michael Jackson?
Yeah. I forget his name. Oh, yeah. That episode was crazy.
You know that was Donald Glover, right? You know that was Childish Gambino in makeup.
Was it? Was it really?
It was really, it really was. Teddy.
Nah, yeah.
Teddy.
Yes. Teddy Perkins.
Teddy Perkins episode. Thank you very much. Teddy Perkins. That was Childish Gambino in makeup. Straight up being the weird dude that he is.
Yeah.
Star Trek Rich says, good morning, chat chimers. Be sure to like, share, and comment. Appreciate you. Yeah, we're over on YouTube. Don't forget about that. So if you have not signed up at YouTube, please do that. What do they say? Hit the bell and all that mess.
Yeah, tickle the bell. Go ahead,
like, subscribe, hit the bell.
All of that.
All
that.
Just
kick my mic.
Pop says that one with Cat Williams running down the street was too funny.
Man.
Yeah, man, it's a genius show. Like, people don't even know. I had to watch it like two or three times, like the whole season 2 or 3 times, because you just like, it's such a vibe. You miss things. It's one of them. It's one of those shows. It's very well done. Miss Erica Fell gives us a good morning. What's happening? Good morning to you.
Hey.
Appreciate you. Mama God says, good morning, fam. What's
Hey,
happening,
my
Mama God?
dudes. Hey.
Just
How's it
talking
going?
about you.
Yeah.
Talking about Buddy saying he missed being able to pull up over there and have you cook him something. Nah, I'm saying he didn't say that.
No, it was implied though. It was implied.
Oh man,
Oh,
welcome. Once again, I want
yeah.
to give a shout out to all of our people over on the radio channel that's checking us out too. FirstSkyOmaha.com, the listen button. You can also ask your Alexa to play First Sky Omaha Radio if you have that. And everybody who's over there listening to 630 Club, hopefully that you enjoyed the mix this morning. Thank you very much for tuning in and joining us. It is 7:11 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. Mama God says she misses it too. Oh, that's what's up. Miss Erica Fell says, I didn't get hip to it until the beginning of the pandemic when I was finding TV. I binge watched all in about a week or so. It was so good.
I'm telling y'all,
Man.
check it out. Season 3.
Brooke says, I love that Lakeith is on that show. He's from the IE, I think. Yes, he
Yes,
is.
he is.
Straight up, Bakersfield. Straight up.
Y'all should check out his music. He's very
he actually born in San Bernardino and then grew up in Bakersfield. So I'm like, that's the one claim to fame we got in SB right now.
Nah, he's full IE.
Full
I
IE,
think Hit Boy's from IE, ain't he?
Who?
Hit Boy, the producer.
Yes, he is. I think he is from. I think he's actually from Riverside. That's still IE, but yeah, I think he is from IE. Yeah, I forgot about that. Man, I'm trying to tell you about the IE right now. The IE is getting ready to spit out artists the same way Detroit did, because anytime you have a city that's that's so depressed that it's about to go bankrupt and everything else,
man,
and crime is up and all this mad stuff is happening. There's some photographers coming out of the IE right now that are the best I've ever seen in my life. And I think that's what's getting ready to happen with music, art, and everything else. So keep your eye on the Inland Empire, California. Got a good morning from Ty Williams. That's what's happening. Brother Rich put our Twitter handle in there too. So if you're a Twitter person, you can see us live over there.
Shout out.
Check us out. Yep.
Can they comment on Twitter?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, if you're on Twitter, please just go test it out for us. Please just go check out the stream on Twitter. Drop us a tweet. And I want to see if it pops up. Because yeah, man, we're tweeting, we're twitching, we're tubing. It's all new in season 3 again. Space is the place. First Sky Omaha in the building. We are about 12 minutes in. So let's go ahead and get into these stories.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, you had a good weekend though. You good?
Man, it was all work. So it was all work, no fun for me.
Man, well, I definitely want to talk about what happened at the Benson Theater, and shout out to our partners at the Omaha Entertainment and Arts Awards. That went down over the weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, man, that was definitely a nice broadcast. It's still live.
Yeah, stepped to the production on it. I love it.
Man, no, kind of. I was a part of this full, clarity or transparency.
Explosion.
Yeah, I was a part of the Omaha Entertainment and Arts Awards board before I left, and well, I'm kind of still a part of it, but as life changes, I'm gonna definitely have to get back into it. But to see what they've done, we kind of had to pivot and move to that kind of multimedia style production because of the pandemic. Because if you remember, the OEAs used to be live. It was a full live production. But because of the pandemic, we had to switch to that, and to see how they kind of mixed the two and just what they done with it this year was amazing. So they definitely stepped it up. I urge everyone to go check that out on their Facebook page, Omaha Entertainment and Arts Awards. The show is live, and actually I walked away with some hardware. Shout out to Marcy Yates and the whole Freedom Summer crew, everybody that was a part of that. Yeah, that was beautiful. So but beyond that, we do have some haps a little later on. We have some other things to talk about today. We actually have some guests coming through today. We have Bridget from our partners over at The Reader. And then also we have someone, I forget the name. Somebody coming from...
Matt Wynn's coming from...
Okay. I didn't know if it was Matt Hansen or Matt Wynn. I knew it was one of the Matts coming from Flatwater Free Press.
We had one of the Matts already. We got the other Matt today.
Right. So definitely shout out to our partners over there. Also, shout out to all of you. Feel free to chime into the chat. We have several stories to talk about. Some things happening with the education. More book banning continuing, not just in Nebraska, but also Iowa. Actually, some prison time being thrown into the conversation when it comes to these books. yeah, man, we'll talk about that coming up. Also, we have an update in the Kim Potter case. Again, Kim Potter, the officer who shot and killed. Actually, she was the training officer who shot and killed Daunte Wright. Mistook her gun for her taser, and now she has been sentenced. So we'll talk about that story and actually a couple other things dealing with police shootings and incidents of police violence. We also have a update. I don't know if any of you seen this on the. It's a conversation that's going on. Shout out to brother Senator Terrell McKinney, who has put some respect on his name. Excuse me, who has introduced a bill in response to the downtown library conversation. I don't know if you heard about this bill, Paul, but it is a proposal to change the board members to a elected position.
Yeah, I did hear about this. Yeah,
and again,
yeah.
I know the chat chimers were chiming up a lot about the library situation, and this is actually an interesting conversation, which I kind of see both sides of the argument. So I wanted to bring it to the people if we do have enough time for it, because again, we only have 2 hours. We're all here, Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich in the background. All of you, the chat chimers. First Sky Omaha, let's go.
Yo. Good morning. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. It's going down. All of you, the chat chimers. We got Precious McKesson in the house saying, good morning, First Sky family. Good morning to you. Absolutely. Mark Manor in the chat says, I was on the board talking about the OEAAs for a decade, and what they have done with the past 2 years have been the best yet, in his opinion. I agree. This is steady on the rise. I'm glad they're sticking with it. I'm glad they found some solutions through the pandemic. The award show is a very important thing, man. People think it's a frivolous thing, but it really helps out a city, acknowledging the artists. There's a lot of people that get introduced to new art and stuff like that through these award shows. So we're happy to be partners with them. And, I love it when all the partners come together, man. Did some great things at the theater. It's just great. It's just a good time all the way around with those guys. So appreciate that. And they refine it every year too, man. They take feedback and refine things. And it's a beautiful organization. Love it. Thank you for joining us once again. Feel free to chime into the chat. This is a discussion. If you're over on the YouTube channel, you can do the same thing there. So, and tell a friend. If you're on the Facebook page, remember, please share the show today on your page so more people can see it as well. And Brooke says Twitter seems to be working fine. Okay, good. Thank you very much for testing that out for us. Appreciate it.
If
as
you're
Buddy
over there,
mentioned,
if she's still over there on Twitter, can you just please drop a chat? I want to see if it pops up here in our
See if we can you can make a comment there that'll go on the timeline. We need to see that.
Just wonder if there's a whole group of comments that we've been missing on Twitter.
Could be, man. Could be. I know Twitch can do it too, but we don't have a whole lot of people on Twitch. I think there was like 1 or 2 last week. So this is a discussion. So whatever platform, please provide your feedback. Really appreciate that. As Buddy mentioned earlier, we do have some special guests coming in the house. Bridget Fogarty is coming over from The Reader, and Matt Wynn is coming over from Flatwater Free Press. We'll talk about what they got going on and what they're working on today, and then really kind of coordinate with them on some of these stories as well. Josh Tate says a couple of commented on it, but I don't think you're seeing them. Yeah, okay. So
okay.
Thanks for that. Yeah, Twitter. So we're not seeing Twitter comments, it sounds like. Yeah. Brother Rich said it doesn't. I commented about 10 minutes ago. Okay. So we know now that we're seeing Facebook comments and we're seeing YouTube comments. We're not seeing Twitter comments. And I don't think anybody's on Twitch right now to test that out. But thanks for testing that out for us. So if you're going to jump into the chat, please come on over to YouTube and or Facebook and jump into the chat with us.
There you go. There you go. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the stories.
Word up.
Because this is gonna be a jam-packed day. We do have a couple things to talk about. And I did want to go ahead and kick off today's show with this library conversation because again, I do know a lot of the chat chimers were feeling the heat of the conversation and had a lot to say about it. And this is something that I think is worth more conversation. This is an idea that has been presented by friend of the show and state senator brother Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on his name. Introduced a bill in response to concerns from constituents who, of course, have been frustrated with the city's planned move of the downtown library to make for a new corporate headquarters. Some have called it a phallic symbol for corporate giant Mutual of Omaha. Yeah. I mean, it's a fair description if you've seen the rendition of the building. But the bill proposed by Senator Terrell McKinney, aptly named LB 1256, would turn board members into elected positions who will all serve a 4-year term. The board would be made up of one member from each city council district and two at-large members who are registered to vote in the city. But of course, there's some opposition to this bill. Actually, the library's board of trustees president has voiced his opposition to the bill, saying that candidates who want to run would ultimately be priced out of it. As we've talked about in the past, again, citywide elections and campaigns can cost a lot of money. Apparently, Kennedy, who is the board president, Mike Kennedy, his name, says volunteer board members would have to spend thousands of dollars to run a citywide race to get their message out. It will cost them thousands of dollars, which is a fair point. Again, elections are very costly, and a lot of times we see those who can raise the most money are sometimes those who get the most looks and ultimately gets the win. So I wanted to present this to the chat chimers. What do you think about these two arguments? Should the library board, be made something that the people vote on, or should it be something that's current as it is currently appointed by the mayor?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm gonna definitely put that to the chat chimers. What do you guys think on that one? Because I can see both arguments. First of all, there's got to be a different way to run an election without having to spend a whole bunch of money doing it. But that's a whole nother discussion, I think. But right now, the way things are now, that's what they would have to do. But is that better or worse than the mayor of appointing people? Because we're not feeling like we got a really great track record of any organizations that she's putting together that are being assigned. People are being assigned by her. So
Man,
I
so I'm
don't know.
thinking. So I'm thinking.
Of course, if we got a new mayor, if we had a new mayor, it might be a different story. I don't know. So, not really sure, but I think there's got to be a reason for. There's got to be a way that we can make the things more fair
Right.
about who's on the board, which is what this bill is attempting to do.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. I don't think that Senator McKinney put some respect on his name. I commend him for trying to do something, seeing that the people were upset, seeing that there was commotion about this in the opposition, and trying to do something to even it out, to do something about it.
Right.
And with the power that limited power that he has. So presenting this bill, definitely kudos. But I'll be honest, I don't know that this bill is necessarily the right idea or the right way to address this situation. Because I have to agree with the board president. I mean, we turn it into an elected position, and then the whole politics of it, becomes out of hand, and now we have um the library system being politicized, and we might see, and we'll get into it here in a little bit, the same situation we're seeing with the school board, and what types of books will be allowed in the library once these become elected positions.
Well, that's true too. But I mean, you know, um, it's the mayor is the one who is appointing people now. That's politicized too.
True. Again, it's a catch-22. That's why I wanted to present it to the chat chimer. So if any of you
Yeah.
have any input on this, please let us know, because my mind is kind of boggled with this one. I can see it both ways. I could definitely see, again, Mayor Gene Starther was kind of the main one, as is being told, who was in the deals and the negotiations to get rid of this library and to have Mutual of Omaha purchase that property. So if she's the one appointing the board members, then, is there a conflict of interest? I don't know.
Yeah. Good question. Like I said, we'll put it out to the chat chimer and see what you guys think of that. If that's if that's a solution. You know who better to put it to as well is the people that are working at the library. We have a couple contacts there that have been kind of laying low just because of wanting to be able to keep their jobs.
Right.
But they have been saying a few things here and there, just about all the things that's been happening. I'll put it to them. I'll put it to the contacts that I have to see if they think it's a good idea to have elected board or not. So, yeah. And all this, we're talking about all this, it feels like after the fact too. That's the other thing. Like a bunch of moves have been made with the library already. This is the preventative measure for the future. But we're getting ready to go through some major changes right now already.
Right.
Which is kind of rough.
Yeah, I did. Before we move on to the next thing, want to hop into Senator McKinney's comments about this. He says, when it's clear to me that the city is prioritizing development over the concerns of the public, to me, that's the line you draw in the sand to say, no, that process isn't right. So, I definitely see what he's saying. Like you said, maybe it's after the fact. Maybe the board has already been quote unquote compromised, and I don't know. Again, it's a lot of questions and a lot of eyes being directed to what's going on to the library. And I think one thing is clear, that something has to get figured out soon.
And I tend to lean towards trusting Brother McKinney, who's in the mix,
Right.
seeing this thing from the back end, because he can tell whether or not there was some corruption going on there with that stuff. He's in the business of watching how the mayor moves and why, and he's come up with this idea that it needs to be elected. To be fair,
Right.
so I tend to lean towards that, his expertise on that.
And I would, to your point, like to see those who work at the library, those who have to deal with the board on a day-to-day basis, what their experience with the board is like, and what they think about that, like you said. So with that, man, I would definitely like to put a pin on that. If anyone has any input on that, let us know what you think. Again, the bill is called LB 1256 to turn the library board members into an elected position. Is that the right idea? And again, as I mentioned, a big part of that is the control of the books. I mean, we're this whole story is a part of a grander conversation about what's going on with education and books and just information in America. Again, it really, you think about it, started with Facebook in the election of Trump, and how that information and misinformation has been used, both when Trump was coming into office and now Trump coming out of office. And now we have widespread, bills and conversations about books in general, not just libraries, but within the schools. Here, our neighbors in Iowa actually proposed a recent bill that's Fahrenheit 451 ish, to say the least.
Ray Bradbury, be proud.
Man, Senate File 2198 was approved Wednesday by the Senate Judiciary Committee in Iowa. The move means the bill will meet with this week's committee deadline for policy bills. What is the bill, you ask? It is a bill that will create a criminal penalty for teachers or school officials who provide quote unquote obscene material or hardcore pornography in school libraries, or require such materials to be used in class. On the surface, that might sound fair. You don't want anything super obscene or hardcore porn in our kids', hands. But what is obscene? How do they define obscene is always the question. And what are these criminal penalties? Actually, as it stands, there's original bill that would have subject violators to serious misdemeanor charges punishable up to 1 year in jail and a fine of $2,500. However, due to this vote on Wednesday, Senate File 2198 would actually strengthen this penalty and raise it up to a first offense of an aggravated misdemeanor punishable by 2 years in jail and a maximum fine of $6,200. And again, when we talk about how much money teachers are already not making, 2 years in jail and a fine of $6,000 can be quite hefty.
Their career is over at that point.
Done. And Miss Erica Phelps says that definition or the term obscene material should be clearly defined, and I definitely agree.
By who? By who is the question though?
By the bill makers, so we can see if we, this is something that people would want to vote for and support or not. Because again, if by leaving it vague, you can't really say you support it or not. Again, the bill was originally proposed by Senate President Jake Chapman and is now eligible for debate. So it is something that is moving forward. Lawmakers are also still considering legislation, which was proposed by Governor Kim Reynolds, which would increase reporting requirements about school curricula and library contents, but would not impose criminal penalties. So again, the criminal penalties and the reporting going hand in hand to make learning a lot harder.
Yeah. Wanda Lewis in the chat says that seems to be contradictory of the sex ed that some is trying to implement.
Yeah.
Christy Norris says there will be no teachers left to teach.
Yeah, I can't see many people lining up to be a teacher under those kind of conditions or that type of environment.
Ms. Erica says Judy Bloom books could be considered pornographic. I know I rented the book Forever Out along with Catcher in the Rye in 6th grade, but both should be in school. Maybe higher grades though. And both of those books are on the ban list now, aren't they?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen the ban list. Let me look it up.
Judy Bloom is an author that I remember there had been a big controversy about her book. Oh man, what was the name of that book? I can't remember, but it was the reason why I know so much about her is that was the first book I ever read all the way through at like a very young age was Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. And I've been a fan of hers ever since. And then all of a sudden she put out this book and everybody started flipping out about it being out. Man, I wish I could remember the name of it.
So I have a list of 5 books that are the most frequently challenged books. Forever. Was it Blubber? Deanie. Are You There, God? It's Me. Margaret and Tiger Eyes. None of those sound familiar.
The last Margaret may have been they give the authors to those,
and those are all Judy Bloom books.
Margaret, I think, is the one. Then is the one I'm thinking of.
It's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Yeah, Are You There? Yeah, that Margaret book was that was the one. Now it's coming back to me like 4th, 5th grade. There was a big thing about that book, big controversy. So she's been in the controversial.
Yeah, those books are on the list of the 100 most frequently challenged books of the 90s.
Man, that's crazy. Christy Norris says, and Iowa is talking about putting cameras in the classroom.
Man.
Kim Reynolds is like the female Pete Ricketts.
A little bit. A little bit.
Hang out. I wonder if they hang out.
I'm sure they do. I'm positive they do. Go out to Council Bluffs, play golf.
Yeah. Mr. Griffith says, I read them all before 6th grade. Blubber I read in 4th grade because I was chubby. Oh, I remember Blubber. Oh, okay. And I got to the school library. I got it at the school library. They're good books. Judy Bloom was dope. She was a good writer. It's interesting to me that they have all these books that are banned, but there's a big ban list that we need to look up and try to find at some point too, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that they keep adding on. Even the Maya Angelou book, Cage Bird, is on the ban list now.
This is the website of the ALA Office for Intellectual Freedom, the banned and challenged book list. The Great Gatsby is now banned. The Catcher in the Rye.
So we've been knowing about these banned books, but this article that you're talking about here is saying we need to find out what they think is pornographic. I do think that all this stuff is tied to sex education. They're not wanting any books that have anything to do with LGBTQ um, population and so on and so forth. So
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of those, and it's the same thing with the critical race theory argument as well. Like there's like the reason why they banned Cage Bird, Maya Angelou, is because they're trying to act like it's a critical race theory book.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they're using.
there is a report in Omaha World Herald about what's going on in Nebraska because again, this is an Iowa bill, and there's also
Right.
some things brewing in Nebraska, where board member Kirk Penner read aloud several passages depicting sex acts in books, and there's a Nebraska State Board of Education member who says that we're hypersexualizing our kids is the statement, and there's a
Mm,
list of books, most of them sort of center around LGBTQ plus identity and things like that. But some of the books are Brave Face, a memoir by Sean David Hutchinson, also uh, The Breakaways by Kathy G. Johnson,
hmm
which depicts two middle school girls kissing apparently in the book.
Okay.
There's another book that directly talks about LGBTQIA identity. I'm looking for the title of it, but these all are books that are. Oh yeah, it feels good to be myself, or it feels good to be yourself. A book about gender identity by Teresa Thorne. These are all books that are being read in the Nebraska State Legislature as books that are hypersexualizing our kids.
And how soon did how soon how when did they get banned? Was this recently?
Um, I don't think these books are being banned. The books that I just named off, these books have recently been read in the Nebraska State Legislature as examples of books that apparently Nebraska State Board member Kirk Penner feels are sexualizing the kids, and I think wants them to be added to the ban list.
That's crazy. Star Trek Rich put popular books that could potentially be banned. Put a list in there to check that out. Vaughn Chapman says, "Good morning. Brain drain and dropout rates will be suffered by by those states that adhere to the Nazi-born program. Let's call it what it is.
Man,
Who would want to live in a state controlled by closed-minded individuals? Free your mind? Nope. You and your children won't get a chance. That's crazy." Miss Erica Phelps says, fun fact: Powell's in a Portland, and my mother used to sell her college books there every few months, which meant I spent the entire day sitting in aisles and reading. Great memories.
man, I had a library growing up. Like reading is very
Fundamental.
fundamental. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I miss those programs. You read a stack of books in the summer and get a prize or whatever. That stuff was cool back in the day. This is very interesting. I really want to know what how they're trying to attach this criminality to a teacher, because this bill is the thing they're doing in Iowa is teachers that use these books can get thrown in jail
For 2 years and charged
for that.
$6,000.
So what I'd like to do is get a hold of a teacher that has, are they getting lists? Are they getting specific lists of what they can and can't use?
So, to that point in the Nebraska article, in this Omaha World Hero article, um, apparently some teachers are taking it upon themselves to decide what they want to teach in their classrooms, which ultimately, makes sense. And I think the parents should have, the power to decide whether they, are okay with that. But to throw teachers in jail for it, I think it's a
This,
reach.
this don't feel new. I feel like I mean,
No, book banning is not new.
like
It's not a new
Catherine.
tactic.
Well, I mean, I'm saying like criminalizing. Weren't they doing this to teachers already? Criminalizing them for bringing in their own books to teach people stuff, or I'm not really sure. Like,
I don't know.
I'm
You
not
saying
sure
is
how
this something
new.
that's already in place?
Yeah, haven't they been doing this? Haven't they been doing this already? Like,
I think that there is some instances where, or there is a thing where teachers could possibly lose their job, but I don't think it's to the level of
this criminal,
jail time.
right? Chris Ignore says representation matters. Kids need to know they are okay. I knew I was gay when I was 9. So yeah, I mean, not what is not 9 8 9 is
It's like
what grade are you in?
fourth grade,
Is it 4th grade? I don't know. I'm all
fourth, fifth
messed up
grade.
on those. Yeah, so you know we're talking elementary school. We're talking indoctrination years, if you want to think about it that way. Which is why there's this huge fight. So, and we've talked about this on the show before. We've talked about whether or not how much do the parents need to be involved in kids' education there, or have a say in what they're in what the classroom is teaching.
Mhm.
Um,
So apparently, the in Nebraska, the that decision is made between the Nebraska School Librarians Association and the
mm,
local school boards, who work together to create policies for selection of materials and for requesting reconsideration of materials. So there is a process by which a teacher can, make a recommendation for something that they might want to teach that's not on the verified, or list. um
Interesting.
but I do think that there are some instances where teachers are just kind of bucking that system, and still doing what they
Oh yeah, I'm quite
feel
sure.
they need to do.
I'm quite sure there's got to be there's got to be some rogue teachers. Like we gonna bring some Karl Marx book in here. We're gonna learn this.
Yeah,
We're gonna
but
learn some things about communism.
according to the association, while an individual may not agree with a particular decision, numerous examples of local book challenges show that the process does indeed work without inhibiting the First Amendment rights of other readers. So there is that.
Yeah. Pops in the chat says, "Brother Chapman has it right. It's an emulation of Nazi policy. Thanks to Trump, a lot of Nazi stuff has jumped into the political mix, which affects us all."
Yeah, I mean, but also if you remember, a lot of Nazi things came from America. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah.
Let's be honest. A lot of
I
a
mean,
lot of their tactics were originally American in nature.
people forget that they did the research on the Deep South and what white folks was doing to black folks in order to figure out what they was going to do to Jews in Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
Can't forget
Also
that.
the Asian internment camps. Can't forget those
Okay.
either.
Brother Valentine says keep an eye on LB 1158. Wording sounds legit concerning on the implementation. Under LB 1158, a policy would include how the district will provide parents and guardians access to digital and learning materials and training materials for teachers, administrators, and staff, as well as procedures for the review and approval of such materials and activities among other information.
Might need to see who proposed that bill.
Wording sounds legit. Okay. Yeah, we should definitely take a look at that in a little bit as well. Sounds like there should be administrators and staff, as well as procedures for the review of approval of such materials and activities, among other information. Yeah, we'll have to check it out. See what's up there. Also, Ms. Erkenfeld says we need to teach critical thinking throughout school. I know it. I know I started with the preschoolers, but unfortunately, it's not a class until first year of college. Exposure to the citizens of our community isn't indoctrination. Okay. Pop says, yes, but I was referring to book burning, etc. Vaughn Chapman says, controlling the thought process is tantamount to plantation politics. Okay, and Brother Valentine says, proposed by Rita Sanders.
Okay.
So we need to keep our eye on that bill.
Yeah.
Right now it's 7:44. If you believe in the concept of time, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. We have our first guest in the house from the Reader.
Hey.
Bridget Fogarty is here, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. It's First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B.
In the morning.
Hey. I got to do that. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
That's right. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. I'm going to leave a break for you to sing that hook there. I like that. Stay tuned. We'll be right back for Sky Omaha Radio, baby. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. And we got Bridget Fogarty in the house from The Reader. Good morning. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I love that First Sky morning intro music we just got. Little singing from the two of you.
In the morning. Yeah.
It's like a Saturday morning cartoon.
A little bit. Gotta keep it animated. Definitely in the morning. Still waking up, knocking off the cobwebs,
I feel that.
So yeah. So speaking of that, thanks for waking up this morning and joining us. How's it going?
Absolutely. Yeah, going well. Monday morning. I'm just excited to be here. This is my first time at Weberized, so I love the studio. It's good to see the behind the scenes.
Sweet. I love it. Thanks for getting up so early and coming in this morning. It's a hard thing to get people to do sometimes. So
I'm happy to be here.
No, we're definitely happy to have you.
Yeah, just let people know a little bit about your association with The Reader, just so they can know where you're coming from and all that good stuff. I'm going to throw you up here in the top window so they can see you clearly there. There you go.
Yeah, so I'm Bridget Fogarty. I'm a reporter with The Reader and El Perico. I actually brought our paper, so you can pick up our February issue on newsstands. And this time, actually, we had a little fun. We got to do The Reader and then flip it over for El Perico to have our own covers this time. But yeah, if you're not familiar with The Reader, we're partners with First Sky Omaha. We're an alternative monthly paper here in Omaha. And El Perico is like our bilingual sister publication. So I came to Omaha in June through a program called Report for America. Newsrooms apply and then journalists apply to be hosted by newsrooms to cover specifically underreported issues or communities that have been historically underreported. So I have loved my time in Omaha so far. And with The Reader and with El Perico, I mostly focus my reporting on immigration and immigrant communities, and then also now more recently education with our Disinvested Project we're working on.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. That was very concise.
Yeah, it was. That was nice. That was nice.
We're on radio. We got to be concise.
Yeah, she's ready. But we've had Chris over a couple of times to talk about the Disinvested Project. But I'm kind of curious to your perspective. What do you think about the Disinvested Project, and kind of what do you think about being a part of it?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think as a journalist, it's really like a privilege to be able to dive really deep into issues that haven't really been given that attention in media before, in traditional media at least. And so it's also with a privilege, it's also a responsibility. So with the Disinvested Project, our main goal is to look at inequities within, starting in these first couple months, housing and education throughout Omaha, and looking at the systems. Kind of this whole idea started as looking at these issues from the systems level of what needs to be changed or what needs to be fixed at the systemic level. And through our reporting, also illuminating kind of solutions that might be coming from the community, from other places, and showing that these aren't really just issues that happen one-off, but really seeing how they're all interconnected. So the cool thing about that is, as I'm reporting on some more education stuff, Chris, as he's looking into housing and the affordable housing crisis, there's a lot of crossover between the reasons why people are struggling with housing and then also struggling maybe in schools, or their kids are not having, the best learning outcomes. So I think that our goal is just to really see how they're all interconnected here in Omaha, and really like amplify the voices of people who may not have been amplified in the past, or just, pass that mic over for people to share their experiences and get that really, into mainstream media more.
Definitely.
Sweet.
Definitely. And I'm kind of interested, actually, the story that you're working on now is doing just that. I'm looking forward to learning some things myself. I know you're kind of, I kind of want you to really dive into the details of it, but you're currently doing a story on street schools. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the Omaha Street School, this story will be in our March issue. So I won't give everything away, but
Yeah, don't
I got
spoil
the
it. Don't spoil
chance, no spoilers. I got the chance to visit the Omaha Street School. They're an alternative high school, so an other option for students to get a diploma in North Omaha. They're a faith-based program, and they are kind of a nonprofit, so they don't receive funds from the state or locally. And the way that it works, so first of all, I kind of learned about this because Chris was speaking with somebody in the office, and I want to make sure I get her name right. It was Marissa. She's now a new, and I apologize, I didn't get her last name, but she's working as a new leader with diversity, equity, inclusion, I believe, on the county level. And she had shared that she used to work there, and so I reached out to them, and really just to look at the school as look at the ways that they are combating truancy and chronic absenteeism. So I got to visit the school. I actually went a couple different times to, sit with the kids or the students and take photos and talk to the different folks there. But the street school is about 30 students in the school. So class sizes are really small. And what I learned is a lot of the students, almost a majority, were struggling with, having habitual absences in their high school. And the main concern that, students, when you ask why are you missing class, or what was keeping you from being in class every day, was just that they felt they were getting lost in these bigger high schools. So one student I spoke with, she said that it took 6 months for her OPS school to reach out to her parents and say, hey, she's been missing classes, when she would just come to school, get that one, get marked as present, being attendant, and then she would leave and come back for lunch and then leave again. So it was really easy for a lot of kids to slip through the cracks. And the Omaha Street School, it seems like really their core goal is they're really intentional about connecting with students and making sure nobody really feels that they're left behind, because every adult in the building is kind of like assigned to a student to like have a relationship and beyond just school, see how they're really doing. And it works because their attendance outcomes are a lot different and higher than those that students had when they came in.
Oh, wow.
Man.
Chris Ignore in the chat says, my daughter went to Omaha Street School. It was amazing, and I have nothing but love for them. So good positive experience there. Also in the chat, Brianna Full is in the house. Full for OPS. Thank you very much for joining us today. She says, good morning. Hi, Bridget. She's the best. So there's your endorsement there.
Get some love.
I'm honored.
Some love. Vaughn Chapman says, we need to teach CRT early to our children. Adding CRT early to OPS curriculum would make education more relevant to those who can't find themselves in local or American history. Black history is 24/7. Let you comment on that. How is where do you stand there? As if you're running, I'm going to treat you like a politician right now. Where do you stand on this issue?
For the record, I'm not running for anything, but no, I absolutely agree. I think that what was really beautiful with the Omaha Street School too was just, I think that, and this goes along with, I think, the whole like debate of critical race theory and teaching different things in class, but they really seem to take like a student first approach of like allowing the students to say what they want and what they think in class. And I just feel like as I'm starting to report more on education, it's a lot of adults that are the ones kind of controlling what the outcomes are for the next generation. And so more opportunities for students to learn and decide on their own what it is they believe. I actually heard, I think on NPR a couple weekends ago, they were talking about this. And one thing that they were saying was with the banning of books and different things like that, people forget that students and young people can form opinions of their own and can form, they can decide what it is they want. And so with sometimes like banning books or different things like that, people forget that students make up their own minds about things and they have their own opinions. So I think more opportunities for students to, make their own choices about what they're learning is important.
Yeah.
Yes, very much. I very much so, and I really appreciate what you were saying a little earlier about having talked to some of these people that are saying there's nothing for them in school. They're kind of falling through. We just had a weekend, really wild weekend here in North Omaha with a bunch of juveniles starting shooting each other with BB guns and all kinds of crazy car wrecks and people running into buildings and all kinds of stuff happening. And we can't, Buddy made a great point when we were talking about it. Like I'm sure that they go to school and feel like there's nothing there for them. Mm-hmm. And we all would have been in a situation where we'd have been acting out if we hadn't had things in school that we had interest in.
Man.
And I don't feel like that is a lot what's happening these days. So it's kind of hard to. It's kind of hard to blame kids who are out here wilding out a little bit when they don't really have anything. There's nothing in education for them. It feels like. Just to jump into the chat real quick, Chelsea Erpling. Man, I'm so bad with the names pronunciations. Chelsea Erpelding says, "Hi Bridget, I work for Goals. And I think we will be speaking with you soon. Thank you for highlighting the complexity of absenteeism and what the students need." And that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Like when I hear about kids wilding out, and like you just said, like they'll come in, check in, leave, come back for lunch, check in. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like how can you blame them when there's nothing really holding them there? Like Brother Muhammad said, education has to be in the front position.
Man, students first, as you said. It's very interesting. And I'm glad you went into this because I think I had a cousin. Excuse me, I think I had a cousin that went to street school, and I'm not even sure. Excuse me, I'm not even sure. What her experience was or what that was about.
Little Mama endorses the street school, by the way.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Another thing, and going off of, somebody in the chat also said their child went to the school. They're really building a legacy because I believe there were maybe a handful of students whose parents went to the street school also. And what was really cool about that was, as I was chatting with some of the different administrators and educators, they were saying that's not like a bad thing. It's like it's becoming cyclical in the sense that parents see that this is what really pulled them up and helped them to have this supportive community. And so when they see a chance to get their student in who might be struggling or just might need a little extra attention at the school, they'll try to get them in. And so it's really cool to see. It was Charles Wilson. He wears like every hat in that school. He started as a teaching religion classes. Now he's an athletic coach. He also is like a student advocate. So he's knocking on students' doors when they don't show up to class, and he's doing everything. But one of the things he was saying is it's really amazing to be teaching or supporting students that he had in 10, 20 years ago.
Wow. That's awesome. Our brother Muhammad in the chat says the students do not see themselves in the educational process. And I think that you're very much proving that with some of the research and stuff that you're doing and the articles that you're writing. Just got a couple minutes left here. Want to say, can you give the people a teaser of, you already started talking a little bit about what's going to be in the next article that you're writing in this series for the next one. What are some of the things that they should look forward to? Because what we want to do is encourage everybody to go out and read these things. We talk about them on a surface level here, but the deeper articles are what you guys are writing. So I just want to put some teasers out there to encourage people to get the paper and check it out. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the March issue, that'll be coming out the first week of March. On my end, we'll have that story on the Omaha Street School. If you still haven't picked up the February issue, I'd highly recommend it. I've got it here. I'll show it again. So this is the El Perico version in Spanish. And then right on the back is the reader. You had Chris come in and talk about his story that really dove in about sanitary improvement districts and just different parts of, westward expansion of Omaha. But a story that you'll also find in there is my first from this series, talking about the drop in white student enrollment in OPS schools and what a drop in enrollment could mean for, the budget for students who are still in Omaha public schools. And so I kind of took a first jab at that story, and you can also look out for an updated story on that, actually in collaboration with the Hechinger Report, which is a national newsroom covering equity in education. So we'll have a bit of an update on that, but then in the March or April issue, as somebody mentioned in the chat, we had someone from Goals in there. I'll be speaking with Goals, which is one of the kind of counties-wide solutions to combating absenteeism. And so I think that's going to be I'm really excited to speak with them over there. I've spoken with their director many times about just different numbers that they're seeing in disparities and who's really getting access to that help in when they're struggling with chronic absenteeism.
Nice. Yeah. Well, hopefully we get to some solutions with these things, thanks to you guys' efforts as well. Yeah. So yeah,
seems like the street school might be a solution. It seems like they're doing good work.
I hear nothing but good things about the street school, really.
Yeah. Looking forward to the article. Looking forward to learning more. I know you didn't share everything, so again, make sure y'all grab the next issue of the Reader. Look out, they're doing good work.
Hey, Bridget, before you go, I just want to let everybody know that we took a little trip to Boston one time together. And now that I have her here, she can attest to the fact that if I go and jump on the karaoke mic, I'm shutting the place down. Go on and tell them. Go on and let them know.
On the record, Paul B, Purple Rain. You'll never see anything like it.
Oh man. I've been hearing stories. I gotta check it out.
We just got to go back now.
For sure. Hey, thanks for coming on, Bridget. I always have a great time with you. Thank you very much for getting up so early and joining us this morning.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. And the last thing I'll say with this Disinvested Project, just like you said, we're looking for solutions. And so, that's out there in the community. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can reach out. My email is Bridget, BRIDGET and then it's LEL-Perico, so PERICO. Just like this. You can also find me on Twitter, or you can reach out on any of our Reader or El Perico platforms on social media. But we're really hoping to make this more collaborative and excited to speak with more folks in the community.
Right on. Appreciate that. You said Bridget at LEL-Perico?
Yeah, so just EL-Perico, PERICO.com. Yeah.
Got it. All right, we got you in there. So definitely hit her up, looking for solutions. And she's a very diligent researcher and writer and a great person. So thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. Happy Monday, everyone.
Right on. Have a good one. And we'll go ahead and take a quick break and let her get on her way so she can get on to the good work of what she's doing. We'll be right back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. It is 8:03. You're now in the second hour of First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky
Caught me off guard with that one.
Is that a little mama with the backup vocals back there? I love it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thanks for everybody that's chiming in the chat. I did see a good morning from Michelle Moreno. Good morning from Kimra Snipes. Good morning, y'all. We'll jump back into the chat when we come back. Stay tuned.
Squad.
Yo. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning, Paul.
In the morning.
Yeah, we gotta get that timing right on this.
Got it.
All right, you ready, little mama? Let's all harmonize on this. First Sky Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek, Rich, little boogie tracks from the Scorchers back in the day. All of you, the chat chimers, thank you very much for tuning in. And again, a special shout out to Bridget Fogarty for coming in and speaking to us this morning. Really appreciate that. We do have another guest coming in a little while, so stay tuned for that. We got Matt Wynn from Flatwater Free Press, always an entertaining cat as well. So definitely check him out. I got Kateri Jimenpeto saying good morning to us. Thank you very much for coming on in. Appreciate that. Earlier in the chat, Vaughn Chapman said the miseducation of those of us who were educated in the OPS system became apparent when we relocated to other Democratic-controlled states. The difference in education concepts seems to be tied to local and national politics. Woo! That's firsthand info right there on that one, man. Wow. I'm gonna read that one again. That's powerful. Vaughn Chapman says the miseducation of those of us who were educated in the OPS system became apparent when we relocated to other Democratic-controlled states. The difference in education concepts seems to be tied to local and national politics. That's what I've been feeling like, for sure, and that's very, very interesting that you say that. Nunan GL is in the house. Says good morning. Appreciate you. Good morning. Good morning. And also, there was something else I missed a little earlier. Oh, Wanda Lewis was saying the material should be available for those who want to do the research. It doesn't always have to be part of the curriculum. We should definitely have the materials. I think this is definitely one of the reasons why the library is such an important aspect of things in our life, for sure. But, other things too, man. I drove by the African American bookstore the other day. Was wishing it was open. I think they still got it closed physically, but I think you can get online and still get stuff from the store. But these institutions are crucial for us to be able to get the education for us and our kids that we don't get elsewhere. Buddy, you can probably attest to this too because you homeschool.
Yeah.
So you're able to dictate your own curriculum for the kids, which is not everybody's able to do it, but if you can. If you could choose what you want, you're a good example to look at somebody who was choosing. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to see when you think about it like that. What do we want the kids in school to learn? How do we, how can we make sure that they are learning the things they need to learn too? Parents got to be right there with the library system, the school, the OPS, the curriculum system. Everybody who's saying what these kids need to be learning should all be involved.
All of it. And I'm looking forward to learning more from the street school system to see what they're doing to get those higher numbers, as Bridget was talking about. Again, she said it's a student first kind of education. I'm curious to see what that looks like. What does that look like when you put the students first? And while we're talking about this, the book Miseducation of the Negro came to mind. It is still Black History Month. Maybe educate yourselves on this. Is by Carter G. Woodson. Book came out in 1933, but as you can see, still relevant.
Very relevant. Brother Von Chapman says, comply, leave, or die appears to be the overreaching philosophy in conservative-run states.
Sheesh.
Comply, leave, or die.
Get down or lay down.
Brother Chapman, you about to give them their next T-shirt slogan. You better slow down.
The next hat?
The next hat going to say comply, leave, or die. For real. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and make some of those and make some Republican money off of them. Brother Valentine said, yeah, if you see some first guy comply, leave, or die hats and T-shirts, don't sweat it. We making our bag real quick. Brother Valentine said churches, community centers, and nonprofit offices are great locations to house our own after-school programs, book clubs, community-based curriculums, while we try to address the larger school system issues. Man, yeah, that's what we're leaning towards right there, man. We always come down to we got to do it ourselves. So let's go on and do it. A little after-school program and so on and so forth. Like we can spend a lot of energy bucking and fighting this system, but we can also like do some other stuff.
Do it ourselves. I just saw an article talking about how LeBron James I Promise School is slowly but surely saving Akron, Ohio. So I think little mama, you like that? I think she likes private school.
She said LeBron James.
Yeah, right. Have to look more into that, but that might be an option as well, as like far as celebrities, athletes kind of investing in their own schools.
Right. Brother Muhammad says the electronic system is now educating our children. OPS requires an overhaul. Heard that. Wanda Lewis says I would wear that hat down on the deuce.
Okay.
What is it again? Comply, leave, or die.
Yeah, man.
I like it. We're gonna do it. I bet you we can. Look, I'm gonna do it. It'll be a exercise. What are we gonna call that? I want to see who. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Just going to try it out. We'll work the idea a little more behind the scenes.
There you go. Do for self, like Brother Muhammad said. Yeah,
man. Do for self. And this one, that's also another interesting thing that actually kind of ties to this next article that Bridget had mentioned about the white flight of OPS. What do y'all think about that? That's apparently a real thing. So what are you thinking about this?
They're moving out to Ralston and getting into other districts and making their own districts and going to charter schools and all kinds of stuff. They're getting out of OPS.
Man, and Bridget brought what does that mean for the economics and also the education and the culture of the schools? Because we do know that not only if there's a heightened balance of, or excuse me, a disbalance, or not necessarily disbalance, but an imbalance. There we go. Of race in schools, will have a lot of students of color, quote unquote, and then what would the teachers look like? There's a lot of psychology and a lot of studies on the effects of having teachers that look like you and teachers that don't look like you. And actually, there's a recent case in OPS where a substitute teacher actually called a student a racial slur.
Oh, yeah, I did hear about this.
But we see more instances of fights and will we see more of this between students and teachers, especially if there's a racial divide, a cultural divide? Where is the schools going? And I maybe we might need to carry this conversation over to Wednesday, because I know Michelle has a lot to say about the school system.
Right. I hear that. In the chat, real quick, Brother Valentine says American after 3 p.m. for Black families and communities. There's a link here. America after 3 p.m. for Black families and communities. So this is a program that we can put our kids in. Is that what this is about? Full for OPS says, Brianna Full says, if the white students are leaving, the teachers and staff need to reflect that too. We need more teachers of color. This is true. Miss Erica Fell says, other cities have after school programs, like Jewish children go to Hebrew religious school twice a week. Black children go to their neighborhood meeting, meaning many cities have multiple sites for complete education. Coming from Oakland and Portland, it took me a while to understand this wasn't everywhere. There are great educators right in this chat who can make it happen. Okay. So again, the idea is to do it ourselves, to come in and continue the fight with OPS, continue the fight with the school system, because there's, like we said, a lot of kids won't be able to take advantage of some of this stuff, but a lot of kids will be able to take advantage of some of these plays as well, to have some after school programs and some other things going on. Brother Muhammad says the current education system cannot compete as it currently exists. Wanda Lewis says that they do have troubled children in rural schools that are being bused into alternative schools here in Omaha. Troubled children in rural schools. Wow. Okay. Social experiment. That's what I was trying to think. A social experiment. That's what I was thinking about these hats. Comply, leave, or die. Because I think that all sides would jump on that. It would be really interesting to see. As a matter of fact, Von Chapman says, "Yep, white folk have the capacity and resources to lead, but Black and brown folk lack both capacity and resources." So that's kind of what I'm thinking. You're talking about this whole thing about white flight, all these ways that they're able to get out of what they would consider inner city schools and those types of things. and that leaves a lot of people of color in the public school system. But our experience in the past probably 3 or 4 years, I guess, the whole time we've been doing like Mind and Soul and here at First Sky, we keep on teaming up and running across people who are really trying to make some changes happen in OPS, like public school advocates that are saying public schools are great. We just have to tweak some things. We got to make sure that certain things can happen, because what are you gonna do if they're going to be made up of people that don't have any alternatives? Then we need to make sure that it's right too, not just like go make our own, kind of like how they do like charter schools and everything else. Like that's exactly what they're thinking. They're thinking the education is low in public schools, so we're going to pull our kids out and put them in, the Elkhorn district or these other places, and we'll make our own schools. And here we are talking about we'll make our own schools. And some of that'll be great, but I think a lot of it too has to do with making where everybody's at, meeting people where they're at, meeting the kids where they're at. Right now, they're in public school. Public school got to work too. Miss Erica Phelps, talking to Brianna there, says OPS, my youngest, after leaving Jewish day school, attended Columbia Elementary and Davis Middle. He never saw a black or male teacher until he was in 7th grade. He noticed and came out of back to school night completely hyped. Sad part was the teacher came all the way from New Jersey. So he had to wait till 7th grade to see a black teacher. And he wasn't from nowhere. He wasn't from around here.
It makes a difference.
It made a huge difference in my life. Huge difference. Somebody put a post out on Facebook yesterday that said, "Do you remember your 5th grade teacher?" And I said, yeah, her name was Miss Albertson. And the reason why I remember her is because I was so tired of being in trouble with old white ladies by the time I was in 5th grade. That 6th grade, I got Mr. Mack. This brother's name was Mr. Mack. He was standing outside the classroom with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth like, go on and get in there. Go on and get in there, children. He was the coolest cat ever, bro. And he said, and I would do something, and instead of getting in trouble, he'd just be like, yeah, just calm down, sit down there and calm down. And that's all I needed. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay.
Would you sit down?
Made a big difference, man, all that year. And it was very, very apparent that everything that had happened up until that point was then I was like, oh, they weren't on my side at all. Like, okay, I get it. There was no grace. I didn't know nothing about that grace at 5th and 6th grade, but that's what it felt. If I felt like, oh, okay, I can make a little mistake and it ain't gonna be the end of the whole world.
It makes man. That simple thing makes a difference. The grace to make mistakes, which we don't have.
We do not have it. That's just what it is, brother. Let's see. Brianna says, I never had a black teacher until college. Wow. Christy Norris says, my 1st grade teacher was black, Mrs. Habersham in Fort Valley, Georgia. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Well, you remember them cats. Well, Mr. Mack, Mr. Riley, too, in junior high school. I had one black teacher in junior high, Mr. Riley. I had a Spanish teacher, Mexican teacher in 4th grade, though. 4th grade for a little while. They stood out, man. They stood out in big ways for me.
I was actually fortunate enough to have black principals at just about every school that I went to.
Is that right?
Yeah. I only went to one school. I went to Minnelusa, who didn't have a black principal, but I went to Belvedere, who my principal is now at Howard Kennedy, I believe. He's a principal at Howard Kennedy, Mr. Gunner.
Wow.
Mr. Gunner was my principal at Belvedere. I had Dr. Friesen, who's at who's at Burke now. She was at King Science. Then I had at North, I had Brother Haynes, and Mom's just mentioned. And in Charlotte, when we lived in North Carolina, had black teachers and principals there.
Very
went to HBCU.
See, I've never had a black principal, never had a black vice principal, never heard of a black principal. So that's incredible that you had that experience here in Nebraska. I grew up in California, and that just wasn't a thing. I guess. Mama Guy said Mark lost it when we lived in Charlotte. He did not know how to respond to 80% black staff, black principal, and all cooks were black, making greens, beans, and cornbread for lunch.
No
What?
lie.
What?
Greens, yams,
Greens,
cornbread,
beans, potatoes,
you name it. That
You
was lunch.
name it.
That was lunch and shop. Moms they never came to visit me for lunch so much in my life, man.
That's what's up. Miss Erica Phelps says my oldest attended Prairie Wynn, Lothrop, King, and North. He had black women teachers, and he did better in their classes. There was one teacher at King that used to put a Klingon grip on his shoulder when he started reciting my phone number whenever he cut up. He said he still has bruises, but he adored her. She also rode a motorcycle, which he thought was cool too. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. Come on, man. You just having one teacher in school like that'll keep you in school. Just one
goes a long way, man.
I'll call your mama. Her number is 402. So yeah. See, just one teacher doing that to you. Ceci Jean gives us a good morning for Sky Omaha family and friends. Good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you coming through. Josh Tech says I was fortunate in the 80s and early 90s to have several great black teachers, kindergarten, 3rd, 5th, and 6th. It's a beautiful thing. It feels lucky to me that you guys were able to have that. Miss Erica Fell says in Portland, my kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 4th grade teachers were black. The 4th grade math teacher was a black man. That's what's up. Wanda Lewis says at Horace Mann, most of the teachers were black, including the principal and assistant principal.
Yep.
Horace Mann
and King is the same thing. Horace Mann, we used to be called that back in the day, and kind of like the TAC building, Horace Mann back in the day, and then it transformed into Martin Luther King Middle School.
Interesting. Anybody in the chat know of anybody who is trying to be a teacher? I know Brooke is trying to be an art teacher. So we got one black person that's training to be in the school system. Anybody else in the chat or anybody that know of anybody who's trying to get in? As you can see, people of color coming in and being teachers in those formative years, as you are witnessing here in the chat, very, very, very important.
Teachers are superheroes, man.
Josh takes his Benson West in Western Hills. Okay, that's where he was at. Miss Erica Fell says he said she never got past the first 3 digits because he knew I'd come clicking my heels up there with 8 preschoolers in tow. Did it multiple times due to other teachers who didn't connect with him.
And that's what it is. That's the point. I'm glad she mentioned that, because it's not just about these teachers being black. It's about these teachers' ability to connect. Because also one teacher is sticking out to my mind who wasn't black that had a big impact on my life. Big shout out to Miss Cheryl Connors, English teacher at Omaha North. She was my English teacher. And I think part of the reason why I went into journalism and kind of found a love for writing.
Nice. So ability to connect, and also it sounds like Miss Erica Felt is saying, being connected yourself as a parent. Like these parents are connected to the teachers. That teacher knew his mama's phone number. You know what I'm saying? And so like it takes a village, like we say. So definitely can understand how he was successful when he has teachers that are connecting and also parents that are a part of it. Brooke says, I only had black band and art teachers until I moved to New York and had a black science teacher. She was so cool. I was at North High for 2 years and had Mr. Haynes. Mr. Haynes.
Brother Man Haynes. Man, it was an honor. It was an honor to be a student.
I didn't have him, but I've been hearing a lot about him from y'all.
It was an honor, man.
Excuse me. That's what's up, man. Von Chapman says the black perspective is being purposely lost because Nebraska and other states want to deny or eliminate CRT. Yeah. Brianna Fool says, before I got a job at the legislature, I was planning on becoming a substitute teacher for OPS. Teachers subs and everything else definitely needed. I'm sure. I don't know the percentage. Maybe it's something we can look up and find at some point. And we've had Dr. Cheryl Logan on when we were at Mind and Soul at one point. I'd love to have her on again and just talk about people of color in the school system. How many teachers do we have? Like, what efforts are they're doing to get more teachers of color involved? Stacey Jean says, my neighborhood school, Monmouth Park, it was common to see black teachers. My kindergarten, 3rd, and 5th grade teachers were black. We had one male black teacher, Mr. Brown. He had a huge afro. That's what I'm talking about. The children were in awe when he walked in the room. That's what's up. Josh Tegg says, anyone from North remember Mrs. Williams?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Augie Kid giving us a good morning for Sky Fam. Good morning. Came in a little earlier today, huh? Okay. I see how you doing. Trying to work it out. Miss Erica Feld says, I have to say my experience in Portland with so many black teachers is due to attending black schools. The white schools had black band leaders and coaches. That's about it. Okay, so there's
sounds about right.
Black schools in Portland then. Okay. So you mean like you were in the neighborhoods where there was majority black people, and that's why you had so many black teachers.
Well, remember, just like you got historically black colleges and universities, you have historically black high schools as well. I mean, there are schools where, again, when there was segregation, that's the school that we went to.
Right.
And that just kind of stuck, you know?
There you go. Miss Erica Phelps says, that's where I started kindergarten, was the 70s and 80s. Pop says, I had no black educators while in Omaha, but when I hit 5th grade at middle school in California, all the teachers and the principal was black. I didn't know that. The principal, Dorothy Ingram, is iconic. I do remember Dorothy.
Why does that name sound so familiar?
It does. It says you can read about her on the internet, but after middle school, 5th and 6th grade, I never saw or had another black teacher. Wow. Stacey Eugene says, Josh, I went to Western Hills for 6th grade. Talking to each other. I like it. Brother Sanchez says Highland Elementary. Okay. Mr. Haynes felt like my uncle, Brooks says. Yeah, man. Everybody gives us a story about him. Love that. Miss Erica Phelps says, my middle school was named by the children. I went to Tubman. Oh, that's cold. The children named the school and named it after Harriet Tubman. Vaughn Chapman says, those of us who are fortunate to be taught by or influenced by, put some respect on his name, Mr. Eugene Skinner, have fond memories. That's what's up, man.
Man,
I heard about Brother Skinner too. I've been hearing about him too.
Mm-hmm. I went to Skinner like pre-K, 1st grade. I don't really remember those years too much.
All right. Very interesting.
Apparently, Dorothy Ingram is a legend in California. She was the first African American in the state of California to hold the position of district superintendent and has several learning centers in her name in San Bernardino Valley.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Somebody I got to dig into a little bit more in my hometown.
I'm saying, Brother Gene Haynes is like, he's in this air. Like, Gene Haynes needs some learning centers with his name on it.
Hey, you might need to work on that. That's what's up. We're going to take a quick break. We have a special guest in the house coming from you from Flatwater Free Press, my man, Matt Wynn in the house. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. First, Sky Omaha in the morning. You missed your in the morning cue. First,
I was reading Augie Kid's comment about the Burke guy. Yeah, I forgot all about that one. Yeah. I'm sorry.
All right, anyway, we'll start over. First, Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
That's right. Harmonizing with Little Mama there. I like that. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We got Matt Wynn in the house. It's going down. Stay tuned. Yo. Good morning. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
in the morning. Oh, we'll get it. We'll get it.
Yeah. The timing is way off on that one right there. We'll get it though. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, and as you can see, we got our man Matt Wynn from Flatwater Free Press in the house. Good morning, brother. How you doing, man? Oh, wait a minute. We got no volume on the.
Did I handle it?
Oh, there you go. You got it now.
All right. I'm good. How are you guys?
Very good,
All
man.
right.
Thanks for getting up so early with us. I know it's an early morning for you.
No. It's fine. I just had to slurp down more coffee than I'm used to. Before we go anywhere, you guys just gave me a moment. You were talking about black educators. Yeah. Middle school, Mr. Perry. I've buried this for so long. I am so sorry, Mr. Perry. My administrator, the only black administrator I ever had. Oh my God, I was 12 years old. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
That's all.
Wow.
I was running away from school and stuff. I was a mess.
Oh man.
Bad kid. Well, man, I tell you, there's nothing like it. It is a moment. Every time we start talking about black educators, I go back to Mr. Mack and I'm just like, made all the difference, man. Could have went, you know what I'm saying? Made all the difference. So thanks for coming on and thanks for sharing that with us. How many black educators would you say you had in your
I was trying to think about it. That's what made me flash back to being 12 years old. Maybe fourth grade, had the vice principal in 7th and 8th, and then maybe 4 or 5 more throughout high school.
Okay.
A couple in college, but that's a different show.
Yeah. Very interesting, man. It's I would love to. I like I said, we need to try to get Cheryl Logan, put some respect on her name, on the show and talk a little bit about how OPS is faring with the teachers of color here and see what's going on. Yeah. I really want to know if they're reaching out, like what efforts they're doing to reach out to bring more in. So we'll see.
I'd be curious at other districts too. Millard, all that.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. If there's any efforts at all going on. Very true. I'm glad you brought that up. One good thing about Flatwater Free Press and the reason why we are proud to be partners with you guys is because you reach areas that we do not concentrate on. There you go. And learn more about our surroundings, which we absolutely need to be doing because it absolutely affects Omaha, what's going on around Omaha. Yeah. So really appreciate that. Again, if you guys don't know, Flatwater Free Press is a new alternative news channel that we're proud to be partners with. And we've already been talking a lot about some of the things that they have been writing. So, Matt, give me a little introduction, just how you're associated and what your thoughts are on your new venture here and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I talked about it years ago. This is something that we've been cooking up forever and ever. It's kind of a reaction. If you look at the media in Nebraska, certainly in Omaha to a lesser degree, it's not what it once was. The number of reporters that we have, I mean, we looked at some census numbers in 2000. I think the year is 2000. Since then, the number of reporters in Nebraska is cut in half.
Wow.
Half. That's how many reporters that you think about that. For every 2 things that we used to be able to cover, now we're at 1. And then to kind of back that up, to make it even worse, we end up doing things like if the mayor calls a press conference, all of our remaining reporters go to that thing, which always rubbed me the wrong way. So we just wanted to build something that filled in the gaps, something a little different, something that told stories that otherwise weren't being told. Something that took a bigger, broader look at things, something that represented people who weren't always there, that tried to zig when others zag, all that sort of stuff. And I think we've been able to do it so far.
Tell me, I've been seeing Flatwater Free Press stories all over the place. First of all, we know that your model is. We talked to Matt the other day, and we know that your model is that you just give out the articles. You allow everybody to use them. Just give you credit for it. I've been seeing stuff all over the place in places that we don't necessarily get coverage. So like Channel 7, Omaha World Herald has used some of you guys' articles. How is it that you've managed to make these connections with these bigger news groups and they are feeling good about bringing your stories in?
I don't think it's about connections at all. Some of these places we don't know anybody there. It's just the work, honestly, and that's from our history. Matthew, you guys talked to Matthew a couple weeks ago. Matthew's been in Nebraska journalism for a really long time.
Mhm.
I've been in journalism in Nebraska and elsewhere for a really long time.
Right.
And we know what good looks like. We know what will get picked up and what won't get picked up. We're really picky about quality. We only do, 2, maybe 3 stories a week, which means that we've got time to make them shine.
Man.
And that's what we do. You talk to people who work for us, so not necessarily our full-time reporters because they're dealing with it all the time, but our freelancers. Freelance historically has been this thing where you turn in a story, they say thank you very much, you collect your paycheck, and then you see what happens when it reaches the paper or whatever it's going into. Not for us. You turn in that first draft. Okay, now we've got 2 more weeks of reporting because we're going to ask you to go get those documents. We're going to ask you to do those follow-up interviews. Here's this question that needs to be asked.
Wow.
We really put that quality first and foremost. And I think that's what you're seeing, right? We're not just, offering up some lesser stuff. We're offering up high quality journalism.
Deep dives.
And that's what people are responding to. Yeah. Deep dives are just really good stories. Well written, well sourced, all that stuff.
And I think
that's why you're seeing it get picked up. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. And it's nice to see, that kind of model, taken, that approach taken, as a journalist, fresh out of college. I mean, 5-6 years ago, I just remember the whole, again, even just 5-6 years ago, the whole education that I received on how this whole thing works is all corporate sponsors and advertising and what drives that whole thing. But the fact that you've taken a nonprofit approach and you've kind of went the opposite way, like you said, when people zig, you zag, and it is really, really interesting to see the approach and the quality over quantity, because that 24-hour news cycle has so many negative outcomes to it. Just the perspective of how people pursue news. So I am kind of curious to how do you go about choosing stories, as you say, identifying those that will be picked up, because our whole thing is getting those that are listening to the show, getting our chat chimers to have to feel like they can present stories and ideas and have their voices heard as well. So how do you go about choosing those stories?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll be honest, it's one that I wish I had a better answer to, because our number one challenge, I've been saying it a lot more recently as we kind of got an idea what we're dealing with here, but our number one challenge is capacity. We've got 2 full-time reporters. We've got enough freelancers to pay for 1 story a week. There's a lot of really good stories that we're holding on to because they need to be done. They're important, all that stuff, but we can't get to them. We don't have the capacity, right? So what ends up happening is you have these really weird conversations where you're like, is it more important to do this very, 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 very important story or this very, 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 we can't do both. How do you choose which very, very important story you need to do? And there's no satisfying answer. What we end up doing is things like, well, we've covered this area before. We look at a rubric, we've got this 4 coverage areas that we try to handle. What we aim for at the end of every month, every year, is 1/4 stories that are statewide, things that affect everybody in Nebraska from Scottsbluff to Falls City, everywhere in between. 1/4 things that are in our metros. So we've done stories just about Omaha, just about Lincoln. If they're not being covered, we need to be there, that sort of thing. By the same token, 1/4 greater Nebraska. I know you guys, I think maybe not. Yen cheated a story about Alvo. It's a great story. Alvo doesn't have anybody generally covering it. So we were able to do a big long takeout on what's going on there. And that's a story that otherwise wouldn't be told, right? Greater Nebraska is essentially a news desert. And then last but not least is historically excluded communities. So Black and brown Nebraskans, immigrant populations, Native communities, all that sort of stuff. So that comes into it a little bit. If we're doing a story and it's about, or if we're looking at a story and it's about some area that we've already covered, we can say, okay, well, maybe we need to branch out a little bit. But look, at the end of the day, it really is a frustrating thing. There's too many stories that need to be covered that are not being covered, and we're doing what we can. I know we're doing good work, but I keep seeing what we haven't done yet or what we can't do.
Right.
And that weighs on me. That's another thing I would say is in my last job, I was at USA Today, and it was really easy to if something happened, if some news event happened in Florida or something like that, and there would be pressure to cover that thing, it was really easy for me to say, yeah, I don't really care. Here, that's not the case. Each one of these weighs on us. I can see that it needs to be covered. I can see that it has an impact, and that not doing it sucks.
Man, it's like we're off to the same thing, man. That's why we're trying to push for this kind of citizen journalism thing, and then maybe steer some people into actual journalism. And it's because all of our news organizations need more writers, more reporters, more people paying attention to this stuff. So it's really interesting. Another thing that's going on here with this world of alternative news that we were all in right now is the new advent of philanthropy in news. And how this is we're on the forefront of all this. This is brand new. This White's family, the Sherwood Foundation. The first time they ever financed any kind of news organization was when Noise first got their first grant to start, and then after that, it's been kind of a whirlwind of us proving, the concept of news that needs to be paid for alternatively than the old model. Can you speak to a little bit to that? How are you guys faring there?
Yeah, I mean, Omaha. So my mom runs a little clothes shop downtown, and she used to always talk about how fashion took a long time to get from the coast to Nebraska, right? This is the exact same thing. The nonprofit news model started nationwide in Chicago, in Texas, and on the coast in 2009. It was a response to the financial crisis, right? Dozens and dozens of newsrooms started up. They looked a lot like either of ours, 2, 3, 5 people just trying to make a go of it. It's been 12, 13 years. We can look back and see who survived, how they survived, what they did, and we can just copy and paste their best practices. And that's what we're doing, right? I'm not a brilliant man. I was running away from Mr. Perry, back in the day. So we just get to look at what they did, what worked for them, and make it work here. And for us, that mix is, right now we're heavily philanthropy based. All of our donations are either foundations or individuals who just want to support the mission, which is fantastic. But we know that we have some room to grow there. There's some earned media. We're actually doing an event. You guys should come this Wednesday about future of news, this exact topic almost. It's going to be over at the Ashton, right by the office here. But those things, is there a future for what I like to call journalism on stage? Is that something you can turn into a way to make 1 to 2% of a budget? Can you put sponsorships on your site and have those make up another 2 or 3%? Can you get to something that's a little more holistic, a little more spread around?
Well, that's the trick, ain't it?
Man. trying to get those streams.
Yep.
Man, but I think it definitely seems like what you guys are doing is working, and I kind of like to challenge you on your statement. I think there is some genius and some brilliance to just stopping, looking around at what's working, and taking a few pages out of that book. So I'm very interested in continuing to see the work that you're doing. And we did speak to Natalia last week, who I think is the one who covered that Alvo story that you mentioned.
No, that was Ian Chi, but Natalia's great too. They're both doing good work.
Okay. But we did talk about the Alvo story, so I did want to speak more into some of the stories that you're talking about. And I know you talked about your 4 criteria. What are some stories that you're working on now that you're interested in and can't wait for the people to see, or can't wait to hit shelves, if you will?
And we only got a couple minutes. Give us some teases because we want them to go read it. Don't tell us the whole story.
Yes. Don't spill the beans.
Well, I can't tell you the story yet. We don't know them yet. But when Natalia was on, she talked a little bit about prisons, I know. And that is something, it's no shock to anybody that our prisons are a disaster, right? They are. But the number of ways that it could be improved, kind of basic things that aren't happening there. There's a story, I don't want to give too many details yet, but there's a story about a real mechanism that would relieve some of the overcrowding, right? And it's not being used. It's there, it's in statute, it's a process, and it's just for really hard to understand reasons not being used.
I can't wait to hear about this.
Yeah, that's a really good one. We've got, another prison story. We made a specific goal to look at prisons. We've got an environmental story. That's one of our greater Nebraska pieces. It's more impacting a certain part of the state than others, but it's all of us. We all have the same, we're all suffering, water works in a certain way. We've all got the aquifer. We've all got working off the same water sources. If something's happening in one part of Nebraska, it's also happening here to a lesser degree. Those are some of the big ones that we've got our eye on. There's a couple other smaller ones along the way. Natalia specifically, she used to be a beat reporter. So these long takeouts, these long investigations that I've made a career out of, it's a little different for her. And so she wanted to sprinkle in some quick things, which I was happy to hear. And so we've got the opportunity to do things that, maybe don't rise up to that level of investigation, but still are just stories that need to be told. And a lot of those are going to be, Omaha, just because we're in Omaha, we know those. We're also getting tips from Lincoln, from Scottsbluff, and from Norfolk, and all these places. We're all over the place, guys. And I would also say, if your listeners have ideas, if you guys have ideas, we want them. We're all about it.
Actually, to that point, I do have an idea. We spent a large part of this show talking about the education system and some of the debates that's going on. And I'm kind of curious. I think you guys might be the perfect ones for the job to really kind of get a full picture of just across the state. And there's a lot of movement with the state education board and some ideas as far as books. And I'm just kind of curious as what different parts of the states have to say about these certain things, and what is the grander picture of the state as far as the education system and some of the changes that are being proposed.
That's a great idea. I think education is a place that enterprise, which is kind of the, when you talk about investigations long-term, enterprise is a piece of that. I think education needs some enterprise work done in this state more than many.
Hear that.
That's a good idea.
Hey, man, we're going to let you get out of here real quick. Before we do that, though, I wanted to jump into the chat. Kateri Himen Petro says, I just want to say that I appreciate the name Flatwater Free Press and the tribute to the Umanho language. Got it. Nebraska or Nebraska means flatwater in our traditional language. So shout out, as I'm sure that was on your mind when you. Yep. That's what's going on. Also, Vaughn Chapman asked, does philanthropy endanger the independence of news organizations, especially if philanthropists are the problem in some areas? Very deep question that we might have to have you come back on. But what do you think off the top of your head there?
I mean, I come from traditional newsrooms where it was advertising. Advertising is no better. All of these things are messy to some degree, and it's just up to your own ethics and your own kind of sense of right and wrong to draw those lines. And we have a almost problematically strong sense of ethics. So for us, it's not a problem. We might cease to exist because of it, but we're not going to bend over backwards the other way. We're not going to make ourselves uncomfortable in the name of continuing to exist.
Yeah, we're on the same tip. We've passed a whole lot of money on the table just because we want to make sure that we remain in control and say what we want to say. We're running a little bit late, but I got to ask you this one. If you can give me 1 minute on this, you're the only person that has ever made diving into data sexy. Tell us how you have give me a minute on how you have managed to find passion in looking in digging in data.
Yeah, you think about old school journalism. You picture those Bob Woodward sort of guys. They're digging in documents, they're doing interviews, all that sort of stuff. The world changed. Documents don't exist. I mean, there are documents, but every document that a government has, they now have some poorly paid person typing it into a database. Thousands and thousands of rows, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions sometimes. You think about what else there. Mortgages, for example. There is a database that has every mortgage that's applied for. Who applied for it? Were they black, white, Hispanic? How much money do they make? Where do they live? What zip code do they live? All that sort of stuff. And then did they get approved or denied? Well, there's an obvious story. Is somebody with otherwise the exact same situation, except they're black instead of white, are they getting approved through the loan? The answer is no. And that's not possible to know without diving into data. That's just one easy example. But it just gives us the power to cut through the noise. If you go ask somebody, hey, are you being racist? They're going to say no. But if you show them the stuff, you've got it.
They might not even know until you show them the data.
Pull the receipts show.
Wait a minute, maybe I am racist. Hey, thank you very much, man. Always a pleasure to hang with you. Thanks for coming in so early as well, and we'll definitely have you back. And thanks for doing everything that you're doing with Flatwater. That's
thank you guys too, and this is a pleasure.
We'll see you soon. We'll let you go, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Wynn, Flatwater Free Press. We'll go to a break and let them get out of here. Then we'll come back and get to the haps. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Hey, Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. You got it that time. I like that. I like that a lot. That's what's up. Speaking of morning, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Yo, 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 yo. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. I was muted. My bad. I wasn't.
Oh, good. It's all good. I threw it on you too fast. It's all good. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, and Starfleet Daily I can't ever say that fast. Starfleet Daily Meditation today. What Buddy calls the Trekkie words of wisdom.
Yeah, man.
I'm just flowing. I'm just following the blueprint. Benjamin Sisko, referencing Jay-Z's album. All right. Star Trek Rich threw a little joke in there for us on that one. I like it. I'm just following the blueprint. Benjamin Sisko. Benjamin Sisko is my absolute favorite character of Star Trek of all time. So
really, this time
he at least gets that dedication. Like he's the number one of all the favorites.
Okay.
Yeah. So check him out. He listens to Jay-Z now. Thanks for everybody that's tuned in. It's been a great show, man. It's already 8:51 if you're keeping track of time and believe in the concept. And we're back, and lots to it. We got some haps that we're definitely going to talk about today, but it is Monday, so it's not an extensive haps. Did want to ask you about the stuff that's went on this weekend. Did anybody watch Preston Love's talking to the Chief Smotter and the rest of them cats this weekend? That happened Saturday. Also Friday, William King over on 95.7 The Boss had a discussion with Chief Smotter. Did anybody see any of those interviews and have any thoughts on those? Let us know. Definitely. Brother Muhammad, don't forget, is running for OPS school board. He's put his link in the chat.
Yes.
So that's what's up on that for sure. Let's see. Rome's review says beat reminds me of the Jets all over you. Okay, man. See, that's what I'm talking about. You know, look, Mayor Sanchez, what you know about the Jets? That's what I'm talking about right there. Brooks says Janet Jackson. All some influences of mine. So you're hearing all that in there. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis progressions on that track. So appreciate that. Black Dynamite says, I know I'm late, but good morning, y'all. Good morning to you, bro. Appreciate you. Looks like you guys are talking about education conversations still a lot in the chat. So definitely go back and check that out. Augie Kid was talking about all the black teachers I had were Sunday school. One Asian teacher in high school who was the homie, otherwise just black administrator, security, and principal. If it counts outside of family and church, Paul and Buddy would technically be my first teachers, just training me to do stuff on the job. It's kind of sad, but damn. Okay, man. Well, I appreciate you putting us in the vein, man. That's real sweet. That's very cool, bro. I don't know if I can call myself a teacher, but especially on the level that these brothers are doing in school. Yeah. So and then you bring up a good point though. Black administrator, security, principal, they count, they matter, they make a difference too. But them teachers, I feel I'm getting from your comment, and I'm kind of thinking myself, since you didn't really have any black teachers, that made a difference. I can see that. I can see teachers versus there being, black administrators, principals, and so on and so forth. If that, interesting thought. I don't really have an opinion one way or another about it. Just kind of interesting to think of that. It makes me think teachers are what is really needed, even more so than administrators and stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's the day-to-day, interaction is the teachers. You might see your administrators once or twice a week,
Right. Rome's review says, I watched The Chief and Mr. Love. Brother Valentine says, watch the one with Preston Love. Too much laughing and giggling for me, given the topic of conversation.
Interesting. Yeah, I missed those. I'm gonna have to see if I can find them.
To go back and check it out. I'm glad Brother Love is doing some of these things. He's definitely a personality. He definitely keeps things entertaining and pulling some people to the forefront. I am definitely down for a little bit more get down to business talk, get down to action talk, really. And so I do see a lot of stuff going on. Where what's coming from that? Do you guys want to see us bring on Todd Schmatter? Do you guys want to see us bring on a guest like that? Is there what about the way that we will interview different? Will it be something that we can pull something out of that they weren't able to? Give us some guidance on that. Let us know. We're definitely down to make whatever moves we need to make to get some answers, get whatever answers we need. So,
Sure.
Mama Guy said, did you guys report on 5 West Side board candidates dropping out due to text messages around CRT?
No, we didn't. But I actually did hear about that over the weekend, just in passing. I'm gonna have to look more into that. We might have to bring that back later on this week because I did hear about that.
Let's do that.
Yeah, there was a questionable text message that went out, and yeah, it's quite a controversy that's going on. This is reported in the Omaha World Herald and Wake Up text message controversy. 5 West Side School Board candidates drop out. The text message linking 4 candidates to the idea of getting critical race theory out of the schools. So there you go. That's we'll talk about that more because that really is there's some quote about there. This article will show that there is an effort. This is proving some of the things that we've been saying as far as what's going on with the school system in Nebraska. There's obviously a concerted effort, like there is an agenda to get rid of CRT and all of these things. This is very interesting. We'll have to look more into that.
Stay tuned for Wednesday's show, y'all.
Yeah, we got to look more into that. Mike Boyle's name is wrapped up into this.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can't wait. In the chat, Von Chapman says Black teachers made learning about white history more palatable. The curriculum needs to be more inclusive, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Rome's Review says I would like to see the city of Omaha donate 1 year's worth of tea times at Miller Park for the kids and have off-duty police officers from the community acting as caddies. You got quite the imagination. We might need to go ahead and make you mayor so you can make some of these things happen.
Man.
Journal Star, Mama Guy said there's an article in the Journal Star about it. But is it in the schools? Brooks says it's not in the schools.
No, it's not.
Is it in the school? That's the question.
No, it's not, which is an interesting thing. So yeah, we'll be talking about that more, but we only have about 3 minutes left. I don't know. I know you said some haps you want to get into. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it.
Just the one for the day, man, which is something that's going on today.
Yes, let them know.
Yeah, I don't know why I brought that up when I don't have it queued up.
Are you talking about the Lean Left event?
Yeah, the Lean Left event we did. We won't be able to make it, but we encourage everybody to make it that can. If I can get to it. It's right there on Friends of First Sky Omaha, so definitely check that out. It's the Keep the Blue Swing Left 2022 kickoff. Meet local candidates, learn ways that you can make an impact in critical races. I like that. It's a free event, food, drinks, and a raffle. And from what I understand, a whole bunch of people are going to be there. Carol Blood's supposed to be there.
Alicia
Shelton, right. So a lot of people's going to be here. And if you can make it today, you really ought to check it out. It's going to be at 6:30 this evening. And I can't see where it's going to be at. We got a bad version of the flyer here. Just can't read the address on it. Okay. Well, we'll take another look at that and figure out where that's at.
Location is 8718 Countryside Plaza.
Can you see it? Okay.
Yes, it's the Casual Pint is what it's called. The Casual Pint, 8718 Countryside Plaza.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay, so and there is an RSVP link that we'll have to grab and put in the chat as well for you guys to check that out. That's kind of the main one that we're looking at. We're looking at
that's going down today.
It's going down today. Yeah, the main thing is going down today. And if you can make that, please do, because like I said, we're not able to. Initiate the Nextdoor app and a full name. Okay, so okay. Miss Erica Feld is talking about that Nextdoor app is something else, man. It really is something else. Augie Kid is reminding us our new definition of CRT, culturally relevant truth. According to Brother Muhammad, appreciate that. Yeah, let's go ahead and get up out of here. We'll definitely get that link in the Friends of First Sky Omaha page so you can RSVP and try to see if you can make that swing left event. Might be good to make a appearance there if you can make it. I was trying to get off work and do it, but I cannot. So anybody who can do it, please do. Really appreciate that.
Also, before we get out of here, really quickly, didn't really get into these stories, but quick lightning round. Kim Potter out of Minneapolis, officer who killed Daunte Wright, sentenced to 2 years in prison. So there's an update in that story. And then also there's more conversation coming out around stand your ground laws. Actually, this time there's a no-knock warrant. A young man shot one shot at an officer. He was charged with attempted murder of an officer and got off on stand your ground. Some more conversation around the no-knock warrants heating up. And we'll be talking about that in later episodes as well.
We have to, because this whole situation with Amir Locke and this no-knock warrant thing, that's going to be heavy in conversation here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Also, before we get out of here, Senator Groney is under investigation. Actually, recently, if I'm not mistaken, stepped down due to calls for an investigation into photographs that he took of a staffer and apparently sent to other senators. Yeah, there's more conversation to be had on that
Senator
one as well.
Megan Hunt, put some respect on her name. Stepped up on that one. Can't wait to talk about it.
Definitely big shout out to her. Before we get out of here, also big shout out to everyone involved with the Omaha Entertainment and Arts Awards. Again, if you caught that over the weekend, big shout out to you. And also big shout out to my man Marcy Yates, Zoe Boy, and everyone involved with the Culture House Freedom Summer. We got Album of the Year. Your boy Buddi3 Da Gawd got a hot 16 on the last track on that album, so go and check it out. and big shout out to everybody involved and with that album and Omaha Entertainment and Arts Awards. Was a doozy this year.
Yeah, man. It's also on Friends for Sky Omaha. You can watch the rerun on it, so definitely check it out because it's worth a good watch.
There you go. So without further ado, as always, we ran over, but it's all right. Doing what we do. And hopefully everyone has enjoyed their morning and enjoy the rest of your Monday. As always, we love and appreciate all the chat chimers and even the ghost listeners for tuning in. We appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. Big sorry to those of you who may have commented on Twitter. We're just now learning that we can't see your comments. So yeah, we'll work on that. But in the meantime, in between time, come on over to Facebook, YouTube, join the chat, join the conversation. And with that, Paul B., take it away.
Yeah, Pops, go on, get down on YouTube. I thought you'd be the first to jump off of Facebook and come on over there. Hit us up on YouTube. We definitely appreciate you guys who are already doing that. And hit the like button there, hit the bell, subscribe to the YouTube channel and all that. We definitely are getting a lot more love and play over on YouTube right now. But if you're on Facebook still, be sure to share the show. We really appreciate that when you do that. Helps for more people to check it out. So thank you very much. Want to say, Miss Erica Felder saying, make a magical Monday. Everyone keep your space, drink water, and be good to yourselves. Thank you for a wonderful show to engage my mind while sipping my coffee. Appreciate that. Thank you. Augie Kia says, stay cool, stay safe, check on loved ones, and stay hydrated. Pop says, good show. Great show, guys. Intelligence levels are rising and rising. Thanks to you. Much love to the squad and fam. See you Wednesday. Appreciate you. Terry Him and Pedo says, have a good week, everyone. Thank you very much. And we'll go ahead and move on from there. We're on. He's on YouTube now. Right on, Pops.
All right. There you go.
Thanks to the Omaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. Thanks to Star Trek Rich and the family here at Weberized.com. Hit Weberized.com if you have podcast ideas. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. Thank you to Buddy and his family for allowing us to be in their abode out there in Atlanta and broadcasting live from Atlanta. Appreciate you and appreciate the fam. And I appreciate all of you, the chat chimers who make this possible, and everyone who is a reoccurring member of the station as well in order for us to keep this going week after week. If you're not a reoccurring member, please consider being one. Go to firstsky.omaha.com and hit the donate button and come on in and be a friend of First Sky Omaha for us so we can keep this conversation rolling. Thank you very much. We're looking for you on Wednesday. Got some very hot topics to talk about on Wednesday. And of course, Michelle Trotzclair will be joining us.
Yes. Speaking of Michelle, if you have contact with her, tomorrow is her birthday. Make sure you reach out, give her some love. Again, tomorrow is her birthday. Reach out and get a queen some love.
2222.
22.
She got all the twos tomorrow, and that's her birthday. So yeah, shout out. And we'll see her Wednesday for her soapbox moment as well.
Yeah, man.
Again, sorry for us running late like we usually do. But thanks for holding on to the end with us. Thank you very much. If you've missed parts of the show, you can always go back to Facebook and watch the rerun. You can go back to YouTube and watch it as well. And go ahead and check it out and see what you missed. Thank you very much. We'll see you Wednesday. And yeah, you guys have a good one, man.
Peace.
Peace, peace, peace.
By the way, Vanglorious, this is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any means necessary.
Yeah, real quick, we're still on the air. Little mama there?
No.
She gone already?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry,
say
y'all.
hi.
Sorry,
All right.
y'all.
Next time. See you Wednesday.